Ladies and gentlemen, bad news is that this is the last panel of our conference. But the good one is that it's a really good one. AI in factories, our language models and artificial intelligence shaping the new era of manufacturing. I invite you to join us for an hour with Bartek Ziółek from Santander Corporate and Investment Banking, Daniel Szabo from AI PE Studio, Sebastian Drygalski from Flips, Mohan Shekhar from SAP, Piotr Matlejewski from UMK and TZMO, and Piotr Wiśniewski from DBR77. And after the panel, I invite you to a short summary of our conference.
And good afternoon. For sure, the last but not least, final chat about AI. Everyone speaks nowadays about AI, and of course, during our conference, the topic has to be also very important, especially that I hope you saw that we developed such solution on our digital twin and our other stuff. Today, for today's final session, we invited very special guests, let's say from the world, very practitioners, and we will discuss about AI, but once again, in very practical way. So I will ask for joining for my stage our guests, and I'm very happy, guys, that you are with me. And before I will pass the voice, I will do small twist. Probably you can recognize that Bartek, my twin brother, is with us, and we decided it would be much smarter if Bartek will be the host of the chat and our discussion. So, Bartek, the stage is yours.
Thank you. It's super nice to be back. It's really, and congrats for all the panels that already happened. It's really unique place to learn how the manufacturing will change in coming months and years. But I thought that we can start with this idea that internet revolution has democratized access to knowledge, and it's happening for years already. But AI revolution is really democratized access to skills. And I would like to ask you, and maybe we'll start from Sebastian, from your experience in robotic and AI, because you have this mix of those two fields in your previous activities. What is the most unexpected way AI will transform the manufacturing, and what kind of the new skill set is needed to really be on stage when this change will already happen?
Hello everyone, thank you. So to answer your question, what's interesting happening right now is that we have these mainstream models, Anthropic, OpenAI, Grok, and so on, but a lot is going on in the open source community. So you can really build some interesting stuff without using mainstream models, and you can, lower latency, think about privacy and so on. But you can build stuff that is working locally, that is consuming all your data, and you don't need to push it to the cloud. So right now, I think less than 15% of our clients are running Anthropic and OpenAI. What we are building and what clients are using and experimenting is using open source. So we are talking about democratization and so on. And this is going really, really well because there is no monopoly right now. And you can build, for example, stuff without using the top models. Maybe you will have like 10% worth reasoning, but at the fraction of the cost, and you can have total control on what you are building. So you can experiment freely, and this is something unexpected, because 2-3 years ago, when transformers were starting getting attention and traction and so on, everyone thought that it will be 2-3 companies, and democratization is really going on here.
Yeah. So to build on that, Mohan, Sebastian just said that maybe we can use the experience and experiments which happen in the huge enterprises and really in the companies which have huge R&Ds and operate at the big scale, and maybe we can inject this experience maybe in SMI, in small companies, using the big picture from SAP perspective. Do you feel that we are going in this way, that something what we learned in the big enterprise can be used in the smaller companies, and it will be another way around, that small companies are agile and they can simply much easier adapt, and for example SAP or banks or big companies will learn from the small companies how to use AI in the new era?
It's a very interesting question, actually, because every now and then the company needs to reform or transform. And one of the things what you clearly said is, as you clearly said, the small companies can easily transform and easily adopt, while the big companies, I always use an analogy like, you cannot make an elephant run, it has to walk. But the companies are becoming more agile in terms of when they have to do it, they know that they have to operate like a startup to catch up to the market. Otherwise, there is always a niche company, a smaller company who will come and capture. And we are seeing a trend as well. There are a lot of large companies, enterprises, even SAP knows that this is how we need to do it. And they are setting up a smaller organization which can run faster rather than taking the whole organization. And then what you do it slowly transform, bring the transformation into the overall picture and make that as a bigger piece. And the only way you can make it faster, otherwise you will take too much time to because the change management has to kick in, and overall time it takes for an organization, it takes time. So you have to start small, and then you incorporate into the different division very quickly so that you can adapt to the fast changes as well. But I agree that the smaller industry or the smaller companies are the one which is making fast movements. But the one thing is, you need to understand the bigger companies or the large enterprises have the cash and they can easily deploy as well. So it's a pros and cons where you need to look in which side are you looking at the coin from.
Yeah, but Mohan, staying with the big companies, what are the key factors that determine whether the AI implementation, not only in factories, but let's say with the business processes, will succeed or fails? What do you feel? What the factors that we don't see on the very beginning are crucial for this process?
Yeah, I think the stakeholder management needs to set the clear expectation. You need to have a top-down approach as well. The top management needs to understand there is a risk associated with it. You need to take there is latest statistics came back. The POC, when you do, the 2/3 of the POCs have been discarded right now. So the reason, because one is the stakeholders management is not clearly set, and if you set the stakeholders management, and also what happens is when you deliver a POC or an AI use cases, the backbone of those company needs to accommodate that use cases. What I mean the backbone is they need to have a center of excellence. Otherwise, without a center of excellence, what we are seeing is without a governance model being placed in place, they want to do a POC, they want to implement everything. Somebody delivers the AI use cases. If they don't have a backbone, they don't have a capability model or anything to adopt that use cases and to roll out to the business, right? Because it's a IT team, internal back office IT team is the one who taking it and rolling out to the business. If the backbone of the IT team doesn't exist, whoever is coming and delivering the AI use cases becomes just a POC, and that from the POC will never move beyond the POC. That's what we are seeing. One of the things is the customers have to set up a center of excellence for AI, so that they have a governance in the model. Because when you look at the AI use cases, you need to have associate whether it's a credibility, marketability, as well as whether does it have a ROI attached to it. If not, there it's not going to go fly for a long time.
Very useful. And what is as well useful, and that's my question to Piotr Wiśniewski, is something what we discussed last year broadly. It was data collection and the new tools and new approach even to data collection, because data is of course the key to AI. And but historically, the factories was more like islands. The factory plant was more like a list of islands, when those data was, even if they were collected, and not really interchange between those, let's say, islands. So my question is, how do you feel that how this industry can more effectively collect, manage, and secure the vast amounts of data, and how the data will really influence the effectiveness of the factory plants?
Thanks for asking the question, Bartek. I see you're laser focused in the topic, so a small thing only. Maybe after the round of questions, when all of us will be around the table, maybe we'll start with a short introduction about ourselves. Probably it can be quite useful.
Yeah.
But this is good question, because probably my answer will not satisfy anybody. It's a year ago when we spoke about AI and data, and we had more or less the same conclusions. That data is truly the basics, especially on the production, when we want to train MLs and use LLMs for interpretation things which are going on the plant. And I don't see huge difference. Yeah, I mean, we are very close to the market. We are dealing with more than 200 companies right now. As you, I'm also a lecturer for a couple MBAs, and very often I ask students or members of the teams of that MBA courses how many data they collect. And what is interesting, everyone said, yeah, it's a lot of data, so we understand almost everything. Then I ask the same question, what was the data which you didn't collect 10 years ago and you do it now? And there is no answers. So I don't see huge difference in the scope of data which we collect. When you look at the market of IoT, and IoT at the end of the day on the production, we collect the data through the technology. So still, this is not huge booming in our region. I speak here about Germany, France, Poland, and countries around. So this is not huge difference. So unfortunately, I don't believe that there is a huge difference nowadays and 5 years ago with data collection. So I do believe still that the job is in front of us. And on top of that, I would add something even probably more surprising, that I don't know how is it, guys, in your countries, but in Poland, when we discuss about LLMs, about ChatGPT, truly almost nobody uses it. And I know that this is surprising. Yeah, but once again, I deliver a number of executive courses. I have like 40, 50 days a year for executives. And nowadays I have last hour my course when we speak about LLMs and how practically use them. And people are shocked, truly shocked, 3 years after ChatGPT launching. So I don't know if my answer is truly the answer for your question, but I would like to put a little bit salt to that dish and say, unfortunately, still I don't see huge difference.
Yeah, but the question is I would say even a bit different. That first of all, is this a problem, or is it a regional problem for like a Central Europe, because you're spending a big amount of time in states? So my question is, this is something what they already learned, that the device and the whole ecosystem of the manufacturing need to be as well equipped with the sensors, for example, and so on, or this is simply we are in the learning curve right now, and this is something what need to be delivered in the coming 5 years. globally?
You know, I came from automotive industry. Yeah? So a number of years I was a CEO on the tier one automotive supplier, which was awarded the best global VW supplier, for example. And in my words, at the time, I thought that, you know, everywhere data exists and we understand our processes very well. We know what is the cycle time. We know what is the efficiency rate, and we know what is the prediction in maintenance area. For me, it was clear. Yeah. It was until 2016. And last 9 years, I'm operating in all industries with many companies. And I understood that this is not the case. So the question is why it is like that. And for me, there are two possibilities. First of all, you know, till now we were in the economy of growth. Day by day, year by year, you know, everything grows. Yeah, our revenue grows. When the revenue grows, still many mistakes you can deliver, and your companies still have good profits. Yeah. This is not anymore. Yeah, we are in the economy on, you know, numbers right now. And second thing probably is that we were not aware about technology and we were focused on, you know, simple stuff. We didn't invest so much with huge question what we can do with the technology in our processes. So I do believe the time for change is coming. And if you ask me if we see that in our region, not so much. But I'm sure that in Germany the situation is different because, you know, the crisis there fills everyone. And in US, this is absolutely the same story.
Yeah. So probably the abbreviation OEE, which stands for Overall Equipment Efficiency, that's something what will be more and more popular because those data can really improve for example, by reducing the downtime. And of course, it's already happening, but maybe the AI tools was not really so broadly used for that. And as well, wondering, and that's the question for another Piotrek, from your experience, where AI can be useful in this industrial revolution. Because it's hard to it's much easier sometimes to understand this by examples.
Yeah, I would try. Okay, I will follow your approach. First of all, thank you for inviting me, and hello to everybody. I will use, let's say, two examples of one that you can implement tomorrow very easily, and the other that you can implement in the nearest future. The first one is around making simple assistant which you can make on your own, and this is also part of democratization of AI, that you can already make assistant on your own. The simple assistant which is responding to the problems, all technical maintenance department, R&D departments, even me, people working in procurement for the industry, we are working on bunch of regulation. We have internal regulations, procedures, instructions, regulations, national regulations, and also the regulations that is coming, that are international, that are coming, for example, in our case from EU. You can create in easy steps very simple assistant that can respond all the question which steps you should take. You can ask him about anything regarding all this regulation pack, and he can read it in the seconds and respond to you very easily. This is very simple but very helpful solution for all the maintenance, R&D, technical departments, and also in procurement as myself. The second example which I can give you is more for the future. Yesterday I was listening the second panel about automatization, and people were talking a lot about how they are using AI in the section of the equipment they are providing to the production companies. And I was thinking about making it bigger, and most probably in big industrial companies it is already happening. But you can think over that you have AI agent that it's holding the data. What the other Piotr was saying, the data from the raw materials testing to the when they are entering the production, the data from the lab. The AI can also control the parameters of the line. And at the end of the line, it can control the vision system and the online scanning system. So the AI, having all this data, will see already before the product, let's say, will go off spec. The AI can already see that there is some improvement on some parameter, or maybe change of some raw material is needed. Human is for humans, it's from, in my opinion, for the complicated production lines, completely undoable. And for tomorrow, you can get advices from AI what you should do, maybe increase some temperature here and there on the line. And on the other side, if you will consider, I don't know, some longer period in the future, AI can change it, can do the change on their own.
Yeah.
So these
I'm
are the
just wondering,
examples I would say.
because the way that you're putting this, it sounds a bit like fairy tale. That there will be the one day that there will be just set of cameras, you know, and some kind of very simple tools like ChatGPT that you can put the prompts and then they simply will give you the clear answer. And I know that Piotrek Wiśniewski was building this for years already. And it's now it's of course super useful, but I have a feeling that in your area, in procurement, it will be probably the easiest way because it's based on data purely, and it's easy to learn. And I'm wondering if you have any examples or any thoughts about how AI will help avoid supply chain disruption, because you know it's simply sometimes it's few different source of data, and you need to react quickly with the changing, for example, of one of the ingredient or simply adjust some process. Do you feel that in procurement this will do a big change in coming months or years?
Yes, I think it's already doing. Of course, the surrounding of the company which you are consider is more and more unpredictable right now. You know, the ideas that are coming from, to not name it directly, from governmental bodies in US are, let's say, making me awake at night. And we already have in procurement available the systems that are controlling the internet, and they are looking for the information regarding the suppliers, regarding the supply chains. So if there is any problem with one single plant of my supplier, which is having, I don't know, 100 plants worldwide, and local plant in France is, I don't know, going on strike, and this is the information is given only in the local press first, I'm already getting an alert. I'm already getting an alert that something is going wrong, and maybe I should be the first one to order more with this supplier, maybe in the other location, because next day it might be a fight of my competitors for the raw materials. So it is already helpful. And today, as I told you, you can build your assistant even with no code on your own. That you can ask him that he will every week give you set of data scanning of internet about potential problems with your raw materials. So this is a part of democratization. 1 year ago, I needed to buy, let's say, heavy stuff with a bunch of dollars to put on the table, and right now maybe I can build an assistant that will work on my own, and it can be done even in the small company in procurement. You don't have to be, you know, top tier one, you know, like Piotr said. You don't have to be Volkswagen to have such an assistant. Of course, it won't be most probably working as well as the top solution from the experience provider, but you can have such a solution. It's part of this democratization.
This is so funny job because Piotr works for top supplier, top producer of his own division in Poland. Yeah, so it's a good joke, Piotr.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, and maybe Sebastian can help with that, because 30 years ago, maybe 35, when the Excel appears, for example, in financial industry, the majority of the people who did the very manual booking of transactions, for example, they were 100% sure that they will be fired because there's no need to do the computing process manually. And what's happened, 5 years later, there were more people working there than without the Excel. So my question is, if the AI system will, in your opinion, create more jobs in manufacturing?
So we see this as a trend where AI is doing more and more stuff, but it's more like assisting people in making decisions, in checking for errors, checking for malfunctions. But at the end of the day, still humans make the decisions, and systems can be more complex. You can have more features, more speed, more efficiency, and so on. But for example, we are working with US government at some kind of, template with AI and other stuff. And at the end of the day, still humans accept the generated reports, the generated documents, and so on. And we can lower the involvement of the person to 5%, at the worst case 50%, but it's still a lot easier for humans to gather information from different sources, to prepare them in correct order, in correct format, and so on. And later the human just check the context, the vibe of the document, of the information that will be passed to other organizations or his boss or whatever. So I think that trend will keep at this direction, that we will have more complexity, but humans will be at the higher abstract level. So another example is that, and there is a recently trend about vibe coding. So I see that there is a lot of people are scared that you will prompt in one sentence your entire platform and AI will build it, and everyone will be fired. But what we saw in recent months, that there are POCs built in few days, sometimes few weeks, but there are a lot of missing parts in terms of security, in terms of optimizations, in terms of UX and pure architecture and design. So those engineers, I think they will be in very nice position, and engineers will be too at the very nice position because they will interact with each other. So right now you are building POC in like few months, and you don't know if anyone will like it. You just put engineers and they build it, and you are just you wish that this idea will be good enough for to achieve product market fit. But right now, I'm sorry, in the future, you will be able to vibe code some solution in few days, and if someone likes it, you just then you will put engineers that will do the heavy lifting, the security, the optimization, the proper architecture, but you will be able to test the solution live with audience in the factory and so on, and just test if if it does make any sense.
Yeah, but it always stops me when someone so smart as you saying that there will be those dumb system and smart people who will, you know, at the end they will push the button with "I agree," and I'm still wondering who will be the smartest in this setup and who will have a biggest access to data, and if the really the people and if we will be the entity who will be the best equipped with the knowledge, the best equipped with the skills. Maybe the AI system will be the one, and maybe we should change the vector of seeing this, you know, dynamic between us and them, and maybe at the end it will be much more efficient from economical perspective that the AI system will simply give us an order what we're supposed to do. And how do you feel about, you know, being not the creator but the listener in this setup of the simple orders created by AI system?
Okay, so I was really scared when GPT-2 was launched, because you can imagine that GPT will be much better in the coming years, and it happened. But right now, in current architectures, current AI can't create something totally new. And if it's not in the data set, if it's not in some kind of human reinforcement learning, it's not pattern matching, you won't get anything new. So we already get some winter AIs. I'm sorry, winters in AI field. And I think that current architecture will not emerge something entirely new. So I think we are safe for now. But for business, for optimization in business and creating value for people, I think it's very good idea to focus on this topic.
Okay, so you are really believe in the humankind, and that we are not as well repeating the same ideas that we heard from somewhere. And I really I envy you because I'm more into believing that we simply maybe not conscious, but usually we do exactly the same. We simply transform the idea that we already heard somewhere and create on that. But backing to the big picture, and that's the question for Mohan. How does AI revolution can we somehow compare with the previous industrial revolution? Is this like a next move, like after the steam, after the electricity? This is like the next step, or this will pivotally change the way that the whole industry, whole manufacturing works? What's your thoughts on that?
So this has been discussed long time, a lot of time, especially with US and the Europe. The one thing the US always analogy is, if you look at when the internet came in 1993, when the internet browser came in, what happened is US let the internet go without any guardrail, and EU put so much of restrictions. And what happened was both Europe and the US were in the same part of power till then. As soon as you left the US to do what they want without any guardrail, US economy grew more than Europe economy. And today, what's happening with the AI is the same. US is letting go without any rules for its corporates and everything to use as much as you want to do in the AI world, we're not going to do restriction. And the same other way in the Europe, it is like we are having EU rules. It's making hard sometimes. I can understand some of the rules are essential, but somehow it also brings hindrance for to grow as well. But that's a moment where I always compare where the internet was found, how the US economy grew compared to the Europe, and it's happening right now in the AI world as well. The reason I'm saying is when I have a conversation with the US customers, it is almost like to and fro. So many questions comes back. You have to be very well prepared when you go and have a conversation with the customer. But when I have the same conversation in the Europe, it is always one way around. It is always taking in. Customer is always taking in, and there is no question coming back. I'm not talking about every customer, but I'm talking about majority of the customer. So that's where I see is if I look at the industrial revolution, I always compare to the internet world to where we are today in the AI world, and it's going to change forever.
Yeah, and I totally agree. So and Piotrek Wiśniewski, what's the main barriers to adopt these AI tools? Not maybe this simple agents, but the real tools which will change the way that factory works, especially from the perspective of the mid-size enterprise, maybe even small. But I believe that from mid-size enterprise, right now they are really asking the question, how can we use this? And you are in the front line of this process. So what kind of barriers do you see?
Of course, the answer is always the same. I mean, education and knowledge about this stuff. But Sebastian, if you don't mind, I will not agree with you. And I would like to put a little bit on top of thing which you said, because I'm fully agree with you that AI will not find something new which never exists. Yeah, this is the matter of technology. If somebody believes that AI will have any kind of conscious and can find something which never exists, that is not true. And as we know, there is really no way that we know even how to create such technology. Yeah, I agree with that. But when we are on the plant and we operate with many clients, and also from my experience, I know that if we are able to achieve 60-65% of OEE, we are very high. Regularly, averagely, our clients, they exist somewhere between 30 and 40% of OEE. And when you are able to put AI on top of that, and AI will tell people and machines and robots, but especially people, what they should do, the results can be like 20-25% better. So this is very huge motivation to do it. So, I fully agree with you that AI will not wake up after one night and say, hey, you should do something differently. You'll never try it and your life will be better. I agree with that. But I also believe that AI properly implemented on the word like manufacturing can change everything. Yeah, and there's the question, if we as a people, I mean leaders and managers and finally regular workers, if we are ready for such kind of change that AI will tell us something. And Bartek, if you ask me about the barrier, I think that there are two main things. And cash, money is not one of them. Yeah. First of all, of course, there's the matter of education and knowledge. And this is not the matter of education of engineers, because they are very well educated. They are interested about new technology. They more or less know how it works. So this is mainly discussion about the matter of education of leaders, owners, top managers. Because, when we are, let's say, managers, leaders, we are 50, 60 years old people, means that we were graduated like 30 years ago, when there's no discussion about AI and technology like that. Of course, we have no clue how to implement it. And because we are in such age and we should know everything, yeah, it's quite difficult for us to say to other people, hey, tell us how we can do it. Yeah. So this is one thing. And second thing will be, it's probably even not now, the question how we will operate in that world when some digital twin or AI, which is on top of digital twin, tell us, hey, you should do that. And this is just opposite like we did last 25 years. If we will listen to that opinion or not, yeah, that's probably from my perspective, the biggest barrier is knowledge and that emotions about our position in that new world.
Okay.
I think that
Let's go into the discussion. Let's fight.
I think what's important here is how do you present this to the people? Because right now AI tell me what to do in many different things. When I'm translating something, when I'm asking about grammatical mistakes, when I'm asking about slot to meet someone, what's the optimal time, different time zones, and so on. But at the bigger level, about some strategic decisions and so on. And if I see that arguments are valid, I will listen and I will treat this as a value. So, but I'm asking for those answers. So if AI will be not asked, but the AI will be proactively telling someone what to do. Okay, it has a psychological barrier on the people. I think it could be possible.
Okay, Mohan, which side you taking? The
battle.
In this battle, you know, is AI creating something completely new and can be the something what will emerge, the new knowledge, for example, like Piotrek saying, or AI is simply the copy and paste tool, which not really changing the big picture, as Sebastian is saying.
Okay, I have a different view. Not going to take us, but let me hear me out where I'm coming from. Today, all your LLM you're looking into it is scrapped based on the data what we have. Okay, there is a limitation on what AI can provide a next put. LLM is basically a mathematics tool. If you look into it, it's just predict what is the next thing which is coming in. So whatever the data what we have is already been what it's already there. Right now, it's just giving an output. Okay, and there is a certain limit to the data what we have trained so far in the LLM. Now that data is already there, we might need to scrap some more data which is there. Okay, once we scrap the data, there is no innovation coming out of LLM. Whatever we are thinking the innovation, it's not an innovation, it's already been done by others, and now we are just getting to know that those information do exist. Okay, now the only way to go forward is a three-dimensional. Okay, because you have already scrapped the data, there is no information will come out anything new out of it. Because if you're thinking about innovation going forward, there is nothing new in this innovation going forward because the data is already consumed. The next one will be the way, how do you feel, because you need to train the data to get more information, right? The way you feed the data is in terms of 2D and 3D and 4D and 5D. When I mean 5D or anything else is nothing but the touch data, the visualization of the AI. How do you train the data on the visualization? How do you touch and feel? Those kind of information when you feed in, that's when the data, what you get output will be completely different. Right now, you're seeing based on the data or textual format. Now you need to expand the data from the visualization as well as from the touch and sensory and so on. That will give you a bit more wider innovation rather than what we are seeing today. And that's how I see it going forward. Because this is always one of the key challenge everyone is looking into it. Oh, what happens when we run out of data in 2 years, 3 years down the line to train the LLM? So then anything will be going forward if we don't have anything train the model. So will the data will always be revolving, or the innovation will be revolving around what is the existing one? No, that's not the point, because you will go beyond that existing data by looking at different angle as well.
Yeah, and Piotrek,
I should take also the part. I would say like this, that listening to you and thinking about the industry, big industry in which I'm working, thinking about my global suppliers, also industrial companies, I would say like this, that in the nearest future, from my perspective, the production companies, the industry will increase its effectiveness. That's no doubt for me. The example that I have given about controlling of the production line will enhance the possibilities, will increase OEE, and this is no doubt for me. When it comes to the new solutions, new ideas inventing, I think AI is still not there. Maybe in the future, maybe in 1, 2, 3 years, it's difficult to judge right now, but it's still, from my perspective, it's still not there.
Okay. And from my world, and I'm more in innovation than in robotization, the big new thing, maybe not so new, is massive customization. And it's something what the market wants, and we want to believe that the product are adapted to our needs, and we are the unique in eyes of the producer and so on. So my question is, and it's for maybe now we will start with Piotr Wiśniewski. Do you feel that this AI revolution will simply make the customization more easy, and this will be something what, for example, based on AI, we can as well adapt the end product more close to the needs of the end user in the massive scale?
I think that there are two answers for that questions, because I understand you ask about product itself. And I think that, of course, especially nowadays when suppliers, they don't compete so much with hardware, like I have iPhone and, even if you have a different smartphone, more or less, this is the same. But every single smartphone is different because of software which is inside, and AI can do dramatic shift here. I'm sure of that. But I think that I would like to tell you something completely different. And I don't know how strongly I'm a visionary and how far I look in the future. But I think that huge change will come with humanoids, because especially now when LLMs are growing so quickly, we'll see, and actually we can see right now also, that in the old world, when you had a robot, you have to code it, which was hundreds of thousands of lines of coding, which has to be done before. And robots was working that way, that he saw some signals and then he reacts, starts some functions. And I think this is not very far from the place when the code for robots can be done, let's say, in the real time. So when the humanoids see something, they can make a function and just do that, execute that function. It will be a huge shift. So I think that from that perspective, very soon from now, we can see that we have humanoids that will work hands by hands, and then the flexibility can be dramatically different. So this is something which I see in short future much more than a huge diversification on the product.
Okay, so you're saying that because honestly, I was surprised how natural it is, for example, in the restaurant or in the hotel, when you have those hospitality robots, delivering the plates or delivering the toothbrush. And suddenly, automatically, you start to ask them for something or communicate with them. And this trick with putting the smiley face on the screen is simply working, because you exchange some, for example, some information with the machines. And maybe with the humanoids, it will be simply because I totally agree that we are super close to the moment that we will just say, just pick up this, please. And that's it. And it will be enough of the programming. So maybe we will, and probably LLMs is exactly the answer for this need. So I'm as well wondering, how do you see this, especially for Sebastian, who have this mix of the skills from the both worlds. So the question is, how do you see the next way that we will communicate with the robots? And do you already see that this is happening, that some tools are using the LLMs to make the natural language the basic way to communicate with robots?
So the main barrier right now to get more value from LLMs, in my perspective, is lack of context. Because if we gather a lot of data, we have the advantage at the inference time. So the model have nice reasoning, it's answering really fast and so on, but the model doesn't know what's going on really, and what's the state of the world, what's the actual data. And for example, if we are building autonomous harvester right now, we are modeling the entire world for the harvester, and not a lot can change. Trees won't move, but for example, at the warehouses, there can be a lot of changes. So a warehouse can change, and there can be accidents and other things. And in terms of knowledge worker in generating reports and so on, there is a lot that people know, have in different streams of communications, and they know from different contexts, from working in office, from reading something, from communication on Slack, Teams, emails, meeting in conferences, and so on and so on. And if you want to use your LLM to your advantage, it will not be as much efficient because the model lacks context. So there is a new shift where models are constantly on, and especially at warehouses, factories, and so on, and especially with open source models, because you can't just put everything to the cloud. Cost will be too much, latency will be too much, too high. But if you have open source models everywhere and they monitor everything and they know the exact state of the factory, other robots, other workers, the state of the resources, models can be really useful. And if you add the new ways of communication, like you said, voice communication, natural language communication, and give another level of abstraction to communicate with the models, so you don't need to describe every steps and your goals and KPIs you have, but the models knows about those things, and if they change, the model knows in the real time that they change. This will be new shift, and mm, I think another step in the revolution we are witnessing.
Yeah, but the one more barrier will be crossed, and the new barrier is something what I was thinking about is like Asimov 3 rules for robots. I don't know how familiar you are with those 3 rules, but
Sure.
basically the main rule is that robot will never harm the human being. And by what Piotrek Wiśniewski said, that it's like right now there's a shift from programming the robot to just instruct the robot. And maybe the instruction will be to harm another human being. And do you feel somehow threatened by the possibility that the robots will get the instruction, and there will be no protocol for protecting the colleagues, for example, at work?
I think it's one of the hardest questions, because, for example, this is a very known example. If you are owner of the car and you will just on the trajectory to kill some human on the road, but car can move and save you. You are the owner of the car. You paid for the car, for the subscription, for the technology. Who should be saved on the road? And if there are more people on the road and you are only one single person in the car, I think this will be really hard to answer, and I don't think I have answer right now for that.
Piotrek?
Yeah, if you ask me, I don't believe that any kinds of idealistic algorithms will exist. Yeah, because, you know, we as a people, we want to believe that there is something which will protect us in that way. I don't believe it is like that. You know, when we look at the history 3 years ago when LLMs, I mean, ChatGPT started, it was very famous story when Altman was fired because he wanted to change the roles. And, you know, he was back 2 days later because CEO of Microsoft called to the board of OpenAI and he was back. And I think that, you know, at the end of the day, there's always the question who pays for what. And I don't believe that such idealistic algorithm will protect us people. Yeah, I know that probably nobody's brave enough to tell it openly, yeah, but I don't think that there's things like that.
That was super cynic, and it's needed. And another, Piotr,
How about guts?
Yeah, okay. Are we anyhow? Is this threat real, or this is something what we can simply as well use? We can algorithmically protect us.
It's very difficult to question, as Sebastian said. It's very difficult to answer, and I will, because of my also partial academic background, I'm working also on the university, and of course, as a scientist, I'm reading a lot and listening. And I was on one side, I was listening the interview with the Roger Penrose last time, the Nobelist physics, very famous. Most probably everybody more or less know what his background. And he was saying that, first of all, that artificial intelligence, quality intelligence, it's too much. It's still under control of humans. So the Terminator scenario, in maybe he didn't say it directly, but from his voice, the Terminator scenario is not possible. On the other hand, I'm reading people like Yuval Noah Harari, which you also probably know, the last book of Nexus. I didn't finish, and he's painting a picture of AI taking over the world. Of course, taking over the world. This is the picture, and he's giving the examples, maybe outside of factory we are right now with this discussion, a little bit more philosophical, but he is giving example of Myanmar, where on Facebook AI was, let's say, pushing to the front of the eyes of the people in Myanmar the information that they should fight against some other groups, and it was AI was working to increase the rage. With this thinking of Harari, I disagree, because this AI structure, which was designed to make people spend a lot of time in the internet and on Facebook and reading, he was promoting the let's say revolutionary thinking and quite drastic thinking, but it was still designed by human, how this machine should work and how it should go. So in this respect, I'm more with the Roger Penrose in a way than Harari.
Okay, so how do you have like a special script in this SAP which protects you from robots?
No, there's an analogy, right? Like when people invented fire, fire kills. So what you had is a fire extinguisher. So when the AI is coming in, the robots, you need to let it grow first before you put a guardrail. Because if you start doing a guardrail before itself, then the innovation will become slow. I think let it go, and then you need to have a guardrail around it once you have done it. And even today, like one of the Anthropics, if you look into it, they had 13 Skype philosophies, and now have reduced after recently they have reduced. I think that's what we need to do it, because first let's try out what it can do, and then we can have a guardrail. Before itself we start doing a guardrail, then I don't think so innovation will come fast.
Okay, it's let it grow, let it grow. It sounds a bit like a Skynet CEO sentence. I am just joking. We among the geeks here, so Skynet probably will never happen. And I'm as well. If you're curious about my opinion, I don't feel that this is even close to be tracked. It's so easy to protect, and it's so easy to even build in a number of different tools which will protect from such a scenario. And of course, the rage of the machines will never happen, in my humble opinion. And at the end, probably the misuse of such a device can only be somehow activated by the other person, in my humble opinion. Okay, thank you so much.
I'm really wondering. We are late, but short question. I'm really wondering. Do you have any guess what DBR77 stand for? This is matching perfectly to your question.
Yeah, probably, yeah. And hopefully that we will have an answer in 5-7 years.
So guys, if you don't know, the guy who was responsible for translation my book always pushed the concept that DBR stands for death by robots, which is actually not true. Yeah, but this is great summary for the discussion.
I just want to avoid, to put this abbreviation into full version. To be more optimistic at the end, probably we will survive because of robots. Because probably
Bartek, but maybe that we should stop here and treat it as a little bit as a Manhattan effect, yeah. Because the fact when we understand the changes which are coming until they changed, we can do anything with that, yeah. So I'm joking partly, but it's probably if all of us we are struggling with the answer. Probably it's a high time that guys who are frontiers, like I believe we are, should ask such question and try to protect anyhow. Yeah.
What's more, the good discussion panel is not about answering the question, but raising the questions. So let's leave it like that. Thank you so much. It was always a pleasure. Hopefully, we as well create some new questions, and there will be a lot to discuss for the next 12 months, and hopefully to see you all in the next DBR77 event, and hope that it was useful as well, and so enjoy and you enjoy the time as I do. So good luck, and fingers crossed for us surviving the apocalypse, which will happen probably in the future.
Bartek, thank you for Matt for being our host today, and for all of us, if you can wait for a second, in a couple of seconds from now we'll do the closing session. So please stay with us, and we'll be back very soon. Thank you.